Hello all. So in all our previous session, we have dealt with the various data pre-processing stage. We have learned the basics of TF-IDF. So in this session, I'm going to show you how exactly you can perform TF-IDF on your data. But very first, you have to make sure the data that you are going to pass to your TF-IDF, that must be in the form of characters. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm just going to define my function, let's say any name, and functionality of that function will be whatever input I'm going to pass to that function, it will basically split it into characters. So very first I have to define that function. So I'm going to say define word underscore divide underscore char, whatever you want, it's all up to you. And whatever inputs I'm just going to pass in that function. So very first I have to define, let's say, some list. So I'm going to define my list as character. So whatever input I'm going to send in my function, I have to just iterate on that input. So for I in inputs, then I have to append each and every character in that character list. So I'm going to say characters dot append what I have to append. I have to append I in that list. So now basically I have to return that list. So I'm going to say return character, just execute it. And now let's say I'm going to call this function, let's say for a specific input. Let's say I'm just going to copy this password and let's say paste over here. So if you are going to execute it, now you will say this exactly get splits in the form of character, and this is exactly all your data in the form of list. So very first you have to just pass this data into your TF-IDF vectorizer. So very first I'm just going to say from sklearn dot feature extraction, this is exactly your first one, dot text, I have to import my TF-IDF vectorizer. So I'm going to say TF, and you can press tab over here and you will get your TF-IDF vectorizer. So now you have to just initialize this class. So now I'm going to say just initialize this. So here if you are going to press shift plus tab, so there is a parameter over there which is exactly my this tokenizer. So in tokenizer you have to say on what basis you have to tokenize your data, or I can say string. So in this tokenizer I'm just going to pass my function. So tokenizer equals to my function name, so word underscore divide underscore char. So I have to just initialize this. Let's say its object name is vectorizer. So using this vectorizer, you can achieve a matrix of your data. So I'm just going to call a function which is basically my fit underscore transform, and here basically I have to just pass this x. So what exactly my x was? This is exactly my x which contains all the password. So let's say after applying this function, I'm going to say it is exactly my, let's say, capital X. So if you are going to execute it, it will take a couple of seconds to execute, because behind the scene basically my vector is going to be created. So if you are going to check what is the shape of this vector, you will see now you have 66,000 this much rows, but now you will see your column gets increased to somewhere 128, and before it you have only 2 columns, because right now it is in a form of vector, and in this vector each and every feature has its own importance. So what I have to do over here, using this vectorizer, you have to just call a function which is exactly my get underscore feature underscore names. So just press alt plus enter and you will get all the features of your data. Look at that. So now let's say I want the importance of each and every feature. So what you have to do for this, in your X you have all your vector. So here you have to say in my X, this is exactly my capital X. Let's say I'm going to remain it as first underscore document underscore vector. It's all up to you, whatever you want. So this is exactly my object of that sparse matrix, or I can say object of that vector. So if you are going to print, you can check as well, this is exactly your object. So to fetch its data, what you have to do, you have to, let's say I need data in the form of columns. Very first you have to transpose it. So dot t, and now you have to, let's say to get data you have to call a function which is my toDense. So if you are going to execute it, now you will get your data having its own importance. So let's say I have to prepare my data for my modeling purpose, in which my first column will be my feature and the second column will be my importance with respect to each and every feature. So for this, I'm going to say I have to just define a data frame. So for this, I have to call my data frame, and in this very first you have to tell what exactly is my data. So you will see this exactly is your data. So you can just copy this entire cell and you can paste over here. And now you have to tell what exactly is your index. So let's say this is exactly my index of my data frame. So I'm just going to copy from here, and in this index I'm just going to paste over here. And if you want to assign some of the columns in your data frame, so let's say the column that I'm going to assign is exactly TF-IDF. So TF-IDF is the column. So this is exactly will return me data frame. So I'm just going to store it in TF. And if you want to print your DF, you can print it as well. So it is saying me it has no as because I have case sensitive issues over here. Just again execute it, and this is exactly your final data frame. Let's say you have to sort this data on the basis of importance, or I can say on the basis of this TF-IDF. So for this, I am going to say just call sort underscore values on your data frame. So I have to just call this sort underscore values, and in this by parameter, if you are going to press shift plus tab, you will see a by parameter over here, and here you have to tell on what basis you have to sort it. So I'm just going to paste over here, this is not that, and my column name is basically TF-IDF. And let's say I have to sort data on the basis of descending order. So I have to set my ascending parameter as false. So I'm just going to set my ascending parameter as false, just execute it again, and now you will see this exactly is your beautiful data frame which has the highest frequency over there. You will see each and every term has its own frequency. Now your data is ready, and you have to just pass your data to your modeling purpose, to your prediction purpose. Very first you have to just split data, then you have training data, then you have your test data, and then you have to train your data by using several machine learning algorithms depending upon what use case you have. So in our upcoming session, I'm going to apply machine learning algorithms on this data. So hope you love this session. Thank you. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing.